Have you ever felt like being nice gets you nowhere? You help people. You're always there for them. But when you need something, it's just crickets. It's frustrating, right? It feels like the world is built for the ruthless. Well, there's a 500-year-old book that explains exactly why this happens. And no, it's not about being a bad person. It's about understanding a hidden and, frankly, a cruel side of human nature. This is the side Machiavelli wrote about in The Prince, and it's a side you should understand, but never, ever let them see. Let's get one thing straight. Machiavelli wasn't evil. He was a realist. He lived in a time of constant chaos, betrayal, and shifting alliances in Florence. He saw firsthand how good, well-intentioned leaders were overthrown, exiled, or worse, simply because they were too trusting, too nice. His big, controversial idea was that to do good, you first have to survive. And to survive, you need to understand that people are not always the angels we hope they are. He famously said it's better to be feared than loved, if you can't be both. Why? Because love is fickle. It's held by a chain of obligation which, because men are selfish, is broken on every occasion for their own profit. But fear? Fear is held by a dread of punishment which never fails. Think about it in your own life. You might skip a friendly get-together, but you are probably not going to miss a hard deadline from a boss you respect and slightly fear. Fear, in this context, isn't about terrorizing people. It's about commanding respect and making it clear there are consequences for crossing lines. Now, here's the core of the cruelty he understood. People are fundamentally self-interested. This sounds cynical, but look around. We are wired for survival and self-preservation. When push comes to shove, most people will choose what benefits them, even at a small cost to others. Machiavelli saw this not as a moral failing, but as a simple fact of life. A leader who relies solely on the gratitude and goodwill of others is building their castle on sand. The moment it becomes inconvenient to be loyal, that loyalty will vanish. This is where the idea of cruelty well used comes in. This is probably his most misunderstood concept. He wasn't advocating for random violence or being a tyrant. He distinguished between cruelty that is used once, for the security of the state, and then ceases, versus cruelty that grows over time. A well-used cruelty is like a surgeon's knife. It's a sharp, swift, and necessary cut to remove a problem before it infects the whole system. Think of a manager who has to fire a consistently underperforming and toxic employee. It's a painful, cruel act in the short term, but it's necessary for the health and morale of the entire team. A weak leader would let the problem fester, dragging everyone down out of a desire to be loved and avoid conflict. So how does this apply to you in your everyday life? Not as a 16th century prince. It's about recognizing the hidden dynamics of power in your relationships, at work, and even with friends. It's about not being a doormat. The side of you they should never see is the one that's naive. The one that believes everyone has your best interests at heart. The one that gives endlessly without expecting anything in return, and is then surprised when taken for granted. Let's break this down into a practical strategy. First, cultivate a healthy dose of skepticism. Don't be paranoid, but don't be a Pollyanna either. When someone offers you something that seems too good to be true, ask yourself, what's in it for them? Understanding their motivation isn't about distrusting them. It's about seeing the full picture. It protects you from manipulation. People respect you more when they know you're not easily fooled. Second, learn to set and enforce boundaries. This is your version of well-used cruelty. Saying no is a powerful tool. When you say no to a request that drains your time and energy for no good reason, you're not being mean. You are teaching others how to treat you. You are demonstrating that your time and resources are valuable. The initial discomfort of saying no is far less damaging than the long-term resentment of being constantly exploited. People who get angry at your boundaries are the very people who were benefiting from you having none. Third, operate from a position of strength, but always with the mask of affability. This is the real art. Machiavelli advised a prince to appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright. But he must have his mind so configured that when it is necessary not to be, he can act in the opposite way. For you, this means being pleasant, cooperative, and friendly on the surface. Be easy to work with. Be a good friend. But internally, you must have a steel core. You must be prepared to make tough decisions to protect your interests, your career, your well-being. They should never see you sweat. They should never see your calculations. They should never know that your kindness is a choice, not a default setting born of weakness. People should experience your generosity and helpfulness, but they should also have a subtle, underlying awareness that you are not to be trifled with. You don't achieve this by making threats. You achieve it by being competent, reliable, and occasionally, by making a hard decision that demonstrates you value your own position. Let me give you a modern example. Imagine you're on a team project. There's one person who constantly misses deadlines, forcing everyone else to scramble. The nice approach is to cover for them, gently remind them, and hope they change. The Machiavellian approach: you remain friendly and professional to their face, but you start documenting everything. You calmly and factually report the delays and their impact to the project leader. You're not being a tattletale. You are using a necessary cruelty to remove a threat to the project's success and your own reputation. You appear to be just a diligent team member, but you've surgically addressed the problem. You acted to protect yourself, and by extension, the team. The ultimate cruelty Machiavelli understood is that the world doesn't reward naive goodness. It rewards effective goodness. And to be effective, you must first secure your own position. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot help others if you are constantly being undermined, taken advantage of, or run over. This isn't a license to be a jerk. Quite the opposite. It's about being so secure, so self-possessed, that you can afford to be genuinely generous and kind on your own terms. Your kindness becomes a powerful gift, not an expected tribute. The side of you they should never see is the cold, hard calculation behind your security. They should only see the result: a strong, confident, and capable person who is a powerful ally and a foolish enemy. So, the next time you feel that sting of being taken for granted, don't get angry, get strategic. Remember the lessons of a 500-year-old master of power. Be friendly, be gracious, but maintain that inner core of steel. Understand the game, even if you choose to play it with a smile. The world is a stage, and while you should always play the part of a good person, you must never forget the script that keeps you in the play. Master this, and you'll not only survive, you'll thrive. Thank you so much for watching. If this perspective resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into the hidden rules of power and human nature. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Machiavelli a genius or just cynical? See you in the next one.